Hi everyone, this is Dr. Nitin Chhoda with Ignition Time. Thank you so much for being a viewer and subscriber. I want you to know that I greatly appreciate you from the bottom of my heart. Each time I say these words, I mean it. This time, the Ignition Time channel is more important than ever to help us make sense of the unbelievable division that exists in our country right now. In this video, I'll share the aftermath of the results of the Georgia Senate runoff races, and I'm going to show you some incredible things that are happening in DC right now. As I'm recording this video, President Trump is at a rally in DC saying that if Vice President Pence does the right thing, we will win. That is what the president is saying. On your screen, you'll see a tweet from Rebecca Tan, and Rebecca is a Metro reporter for the Washington Post. Rebecca is showing us a clip from Todd Young, who's a Republican senator from Indiana, and Rebecca writes, Republican senators are being swarmed by Trump protesters on the Hill in DC. Here's an exasperated Senator Todd Young, Republican from Indiana, saying he will not vote against certifying the election. He's actually talking to protesters, saying that he agrees in principle with what they're saying, but the law is the law. I'm paraphrasing. I want you to watch this segment. This is indicative of the division in our country, and in many ways, what holds us together in the most difficult of times. I'm going to show you this clip and loop it a couple of times because I think it's that important. Let's watch together.
You're supposed to represent our opinion.
Actually, I'm very glad you said that. My opinion doesn't matter. And you know what? When it comes to the law, our opinions don't matter. The law matters. Opinions don't matter. The law matters.
Sir,
I value your opinion. I actually share your concerns. I share your conviction that President Trump should remain president. I share that conviction.
The law matters with
I
us.
share that conviction. But the law matters.
It doesn't matter what the
I
Democrats.
took an oath
It
under
doesn't matter
God.
what the Democrats.
Under God. Okay, I took an oath. Do we still take that seriously in this country?
I do.
You don't think that's
I do.
Sir, will you be
God,
objecting to
sir,
it?
what
Will you
is
be
the law?
You're supposed to represent our opinion.
Actually, I'm very glad you said that. My opinion doesn't matter. And you know what? When it comes to the law, our opinions don't matter. The law matters. Opinions don't matter. The law matters.
Sir, they
I
have
value
the
your
law.
opinion. I actually share your concerns. I share your conviction that President Trump should remain president. I share that conviction.
The law matters with
I
us.
share that conviction. But the law
It
matters.
doesn't matter what the
I
Democrats.
took an oath
It
under
doesn't matter
God.
what the Democrats.
Under God. Okay, I took an oath. Do we still take that seriously in this country?
I do.
You don't think that's
I do.
Sir, will you be
God,
objecting to
sir,
it?
what
Will
is
you be
the
objecting?
law?
You're supposed to represent our opinion.
Actually, I'm very glad you said that. My opinion doesn't matter. And you know what? When it comes to the law, our opinions don't matter. The law matters. Opinions don't matter. The law matters.
Sir, they
I
have
value
the
your
law.
opinion. I actually share your concerns. I share your conviction that President Trump should remain president. I share that conviction.
The law matters with
I
us.
share that conviction. But the law
It
matters.
doesn't matter what the
I
Democrats.
took an oath
It
under
doesn't matter
God.
what the Democrats.
Under God. Okay, I took an oath. Do we still take that seriously in this country?
I do.
You don't think that's
I do.
Sir, will you be
God,
objecting to
sir,
it?
what
Will
is
you be
the
objecting?
law?
That was incredible. Let me know what you think of Senator Todd Young's comments in the comment section below. You'll find a link to this tweet and you can watch that video for yourself. You'll find a link to this tweet in the description section below. Also, in additional reporting from Rebecca Tan, who covers news for the Washington Post, she reported that hundreds of supporters of the president have stormed the barricades at the back of the Capitol and are marching towards the building. Let's take a look at this segment so you understand exactly what is going on as we speak. Let's roll the tape. Let's shift gears now and take a look at this article on your screen from The Hill. And the headline of the article reads, "On the Trail, 8 takeaways from Georgia's stunning election results." The 8 takeaways are as follows. Number 1, African American voters, black voters, delivered the Senate to the Democrats. Number 2, mobilization matters, which means the ground game, which means all the moves that Stacey Abrams made. The ground game matters. Number three, President Trump was the elephant in the room. President Trump inserted himself into the campaign and in many ways made it a referendum on him. I'll provide you with a link to this article in the description section below so you can learn more and you can dig deeper into this. Number four, Republicans should have learned from Jack Bogle. Jack Bogle tried to get the average investor to make money in the stock market through passive investing. Well, the one thing that Kelly Loeffler and David Perdue did not do is passive investing. Keep in mind, they are two of the wealthiest members in the United States Senate, and they did a lot of active trading. In other words, they are not like the common man. Number five, Republicans have a suburban problem, according to the Hill. I'll let you read more. I'll let you dig deeper into the article because, again, we'll provide you with a link to the article in the description section below. Number six, Republicans have a base problem. Are Republicans fundamentally disconnected from their base? Is that why Georgia, which is a red state, flipped blue? Number seven, the future of the runoff system in Georgia could be in danger because now everyone's going to look at it and say, whoa, these runoffs can really change the balance of power. Could the entire runoff election system be in danger? And finally, number eight, it may be time for the Republicans to rethink their approach towards 2022 and potentially 2024 also. Well, in case you're wondering, hey, have the results been officially called? Yes, they, at the time I'm recording this video, they have been officially called for Raphael Warnock. As far as Jon Ossoff is concerned, he is projected to be declared the winner. In fact, Jon Ossoff has already made a victory speech. I did highlight that in another video on our channel. Here's a tweet on your screen from Dave Wasserman, who's a US House editor of the nonpartisan Cook Political Report. And he writes, look guys, I've seen enough. Both Raphael Warnock and Jon Ossoff will win by margins comfortably exceeding Georgia's 0.5% recount threshold. Keep in mind, even if there is a recount means zip if we're talking about several thousand votes. A recount usually is much more important when the margin of victory is 200 or 300 votes or right around that range. Remember, we're talking about millions of votes being cast, so a recount isn't going to matter if it's several thousand votes, even if it's within the 0.5% margin. And Burgess Everett, who's a co-congressional bureau chief of Politico, pointed out some comments from the Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer today. Yes, welcome to the new Senate Majority Leader, Chuck Schumer. I'll actually highlight some of his comments in his brief news conference earlier today in a couple of minutes. But Burgess Everett pointed out some important comments from the Senate Majority Leader, Chuck Schumer. And on being asked about being the new Senate Majority Leader, he said, what a good morning it is. We sure did not take the most direct path to be here, but here we are. I'll actually show you that clip towards the latter part of this video. Schumer said that the $2,000 stimulus checks will be among the first items on the agenda when Raphael Warnock and Jon Ossoff are sworn in, which is going to happen shortly because the election results of the Senate Georgia runoff races will be certified soon. He said he spoke with President-elect Biden this morning, and he said that he has not yet spoken to the Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, and he will be speaking with him soon. And he said that they're going to work together with the Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell to hopefully pass $2,000 stimulus checks. And let's wait and see what happens. You'll see this tweet on your screen from Burgess Everett. Schumer would not say whether the $2,000 checks would be on a narrow bill or part of something larger. We'll have to see. Now this all becomes a political maneuver, a political game. But now things will start to move along as far as the $2,000 stimulus checks are concerned. You can depend on me to give you the real news, the honest news, wherever that might lead us. So please click like, please subscribe, please enable notifications. That would mean a lot to me, and that would tell YouTube you're finding this content helpful. Now, here's something interesting I wanted to share with our viewers and subscribers. On this day back in 2017, President-elect Joe Biden, who was then Vice President Joe Biden, said to a congresswoman from his own party, Pramila Jayapal from Washington, he said to a congresswoman from his own party, who's she's a Democrat, Pramila Jayapal, congresswoman, he told her it's over when she tried to mount an objection to the Electoral College certification of President Trump. This is ironic. This is interesting. He said it's over, and you can see Paul Ryan, the Speaker of the House, the Republican Speaker of the House, sitting behind President-elect Joe Biden, then Vice President Joe Biden, laughing. And keep in mind that Pramila Jayapal, Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal, when she was mounting an objection, she did not have a signature, which essentially invalidated her objection because the Vice President, meaning the President of the Senate, has to follow the letter of the law. And you can see that President-elect Biden just shut her down and says, all right, let's move on. It's over. And we'll have to wait and see if Vice President Mike Pence does something similar today. This is quite interesting when you look at it because this is 4 years ago today. Let's roll the tape and watch.
What purpose does the gentlewoman rise?
Mr. President, I object to the certificate from the state of Georgia on the grounds that the electoral votes were not...
There's no debate. Section 15 and 17 of Title III of the United States Code require that any objection be presented in writing, signed by both a member of the House of Representatives and a senator. Is the objection in writing and not only signed by the member but by a United States senator?
Mr. President, even as people waited hours in Georgia...
There's no debate. And if there's not signed by a senator, the objection cannot be entertained.
Mr. President, the objection is signed by a member of the House, but not yet by a member of the Senate.
Well, it is over.
I tell you what, I actually quite enjoyed that. So I think we should watch it one more time. Let's watch it once more.
What purpose does the gentlewoman rise?
Mr. President, I object to the certificate from the state of Georgia on the grounds that the electoral votes were not...
There's no debate. Section 15 and 17 of Title III of the United States Code require that any objection be presented in writing, signed by both a member of the House of Representatives and a senator. Is the objection in writing and not only signed by the member but by a United States senator?
Mr. President, even as people waited hours in Georgia...
There's no debate. And if there's not signed by a senator, the objection cannot be entertained.
Mr. President, the objection is signed by a member of the House, but not yet by a member of the Senate.
Well, it is over.
That was interesting, wasn't it? Here's Jake Sherman from Punch Bowl News highlighting the fact that Chuck Schumer said one of the first things he'll do is pass $2,000 stimulus checks. Here's Andrew Feinberg, who's a reporter covering the White House, basically saying, meet our next Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer. There he is on your screen. And Mike DeBonis, who covers Congress for the Washington Post, highlighted some important comments from the new Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer. I'm going to quote the new Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, and you'll see these tweets on your screen. Senator Chuck Schumer said he spoke with Biden. I pledged to him that as Majority Leader, President Biden and VP-elect Harris will have a partner in me and my caucus who is ready, willing, and able to help achieve a forward-looking agenda and deliver bold change to the American people. He continued, for too long, much-needed help has been stalled or diluted by a Republican-led Senate and President Trump, and that will change with a Democratic Senate, Democratic House, and a Democratic President. And he was asked about whether he would essentially consolidate agreements, a power-sharing deal, if you will, with the Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, with the House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy, who, by the way, one day could become the House Majority Leader. Currently, the House Majority Leader is Steny Hoyer, who's a Democrat. It is expected, by the way, that Republicans will win control of the House in 2022. So I do want our viewers and subscribers to know that. When he was asked about a power-sharing deal, this is what the Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer said. I look forward to sitting down with Leader McConnell. Interesting that he addressed him as Leader McConnell. Well, he's still the leader of the Republican Party. We have a lot of things to discuss. We first have to wait till the races are certified and the new senators are here before we can put anything in place. But certainly, we will have to talk. And then when he was asked about checks and what legislation they would pass, he said, I'm not going to get into either prioritizing or details. I said what I said about the checks. It's one of the first things we want to do once our new senators are seated. They campaigned on it. In fact, let's take a look at the first clip from a brief press conference that the new Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer did today, in which he said one of the first things that Democrats will do is to deliver $2,000 checks to American families. Let's roll the tape and hear what the new Senate Majority Leader said this morning.
Majority is committed to delivering the bold change and help that Americans need and demand. Senate Democrats know America is hurting. Help is on the way. And we have 2 new senators coming to help. One of the first things that I want to do when our new senators are seated is deliver the $2,000 checks to the American families. Senators Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff ran first-rate campaigns. They will be outstanding senators for Georgia. When Raphael Warnock was born, both of Georgia's senators were segregationists. Yesterday, Georgia just elected its first African American to the United States Senate in its history. And John Ossoff has been on the ground, working it for years. He was never daunted, persistent, never gave up. I'm so proud of both their campaigns and so excited to welcome them to the United States Senate.
In the second segment, the new Senate Majority Leader said, as the new Majority Leader, we will deliver bold change to the American people. Interesting comments. Let's watch.
Now, I've already spoken to President Biden this morning, and I pledged to him that as Majority Leader, President Biden and Vice President-elect Harris will have a partner in me and my caucus who is ready, willing, and able to help achieve a forward-looking agenda and deliver bold change to the American people. For too long, much-needed help has been stalled or diluted by a Republican-led Senate and President Trump. That will change with a Democratic Senate, a Democratic House, and a Democratic President. One of the things I'm most excited about is that we have had so much talent in our Democratic caucus, and all that talent has been bottled up. They haven't really been allowed to participate and put legislation on the floor. Now that is all going to be, all that talent that's been bottled up for so long will be unleashed. And you'll see amazing things coming out of our new chairs and subcommittee chairs. They'll be able to showcase their talents and accomplish great things. It excites me. And as a caucus, we will work every single day to reward the faith that the American people have placed in us. Thank you.
And in the third segment, when the new Senate Majority Leader was asked how he will work with the new Senate Minority Leader, Mitch McConnell, he said, we'll work with McConnell, want to do $2,000 stimulus checks because our senators campaigned on it. Let's hear him and let's watch.
I'm not going to get into either prioritizing or details. I said what I said about the checks. It's one of the first things we want to do once our new senators are seated. They campaigned on it. Next. What?
Leader Schumer, the last time there was a 50-50 Senate, there was a power sharing agreement between Senator Daschle and Lott. Do you foreshadow that happening with you, with Senator McConnell?
Well, look, I look forward to sitting down with Leader McConnell. We have a lot of things to discuss. We first have to wait till the races are certified and the new senators are here and Vice President Kamala is in the chair before we can put anything in place. But certainly we'll have to talk. Yes.
What do you anticipate?
Yep, he's him.
Follow up on 2 questions. Have you spoken with Leader McConnell yet?
Not this morning, no.
And the question about the $2,000 check is, are you envisioning a larger package, or is that standalone?
I'm not going to, as I told you, it's one of the first things we want to do. Our Georgia senators campaigned on it. Our caucus is strongly for it. We think the American people need it.
Leader Schumer, how does this change the calendar? How does this change the way forward on nominations?
Look, obviously, with Democratic control, the ability of Joe Biden to move nominations forward will be easier. The calendar I haven't begun to look at yet. Last one.
Mr. Schumer, can you just expound a little bit about what the moment when you found out that you would be the majority leader, and then just secondarily, progressives are really still pushing you to nuke the legislative filibuster. Can you make that promise right now?
Look, what we're going to do, we Senate Democrats know we face one of the greatest crises Americans have. We're united in wanting big, bold change, and we're going to sit down as a caucus and discuss the best ways to get that done. And the first question?
The moment you found out, just tell us a little bit.
Yeah, I was sitting at home in Brooklyn watching my television, and at about midnight, having talked to Ossoff about 3 or 4 times and Warnock several times, I realized that even though he was behind then by about a couple of thousand votes, that all the votes that were coming in were going to be Democratic votes, and the odds were very, very high that he would win. And wow, who would have thought, as I said, this is not the path we chose to get here, but we're here. Thank you, everybody.
And things are shifting within the Republican Party, because now as the control of power shifts in Washington, D.C., you can see this article on your screen from Politico, which reads, Republicans turn on Trump after Georgia loss. Fissures are forming within the Republican Party as many Republicans decide whether it's useful to cling to Trump, even as he tries to subvert an election, according to Politico, or to distance themselves. I talked about this yesterday. Cracks are already beginning to form in the Republican Party. We'll provide you with a link to this article in the description section below. And we know that the president is essentially banking on Vice President Pence to do something today where, it doesn't go as planned. You see this article on your screen from Politico. Donald Trump's most audacious loyalty tests ever. In the waning days of his administration, the president is forcing members of his own party to publicly make a choice that likely will help no one but him. And you saw the clip from Senator Todd Young earlier in this video. You'll see that not everyone is on board with President Trump's plan and President Trump's notion. So again, this represents the fractures within the Republican Party that are being directly caused as a result of the president. In fact, I'm not the only one who says this. We're about to take a look at a clip with Byron York. Byron York is actually a supporter of the president. He's frequently on Fox News. He's written a book called Obsession: Inside the Washington Establishment's Never-Ending War on Trump. He's a chief political correspondent for the Washington Examiner. Before I share the clip with Byron, I'm going to show you this article on your screen from Fox. And the article reads, the Senate Minority Leader, Mitch McConnell, is about to rebuke, in other words, not contest the election challenge. So he's about to rebuke the Republican challenge to certify the Electoral College vote. And this would be his first public statement against President Trump's supporters in Congress on the matter. In other words, Mitch McConnell is about to make a public statement saying that we should proceed with the Electoral College certification, and he's going to go against members of his own party like Ted Cruz from Texas, like Josh Hawley from Missouri. So we are about to see quite a conflict, an open disagreement, an open split, open fissures within the Republican Party today in what is going to be a very consequential day for the history of our country. Now, let's take a look at the clip with Byron York, where Byron basically says that the president played a role in the Republican defeat in Georgia. He says that when Ossoff is expected to win, which is expected to be announced formally, he said President Trump played a role in the Republican defeat, and he referred to him as the former president. And now Byron York says the former president's power and influence is leaking away by the minute. Incredible comments from one of the biggest supporters of the president. Let's roll the tape and watch.
A moment ago, it feels like the ground has shifted a little bit as you wake up this morning across the country. It reminds me of 12 years ago when Barack Obama and Democrats were so successful. That's late 2008, early 2009. Where do you think, or what do you think this vote tells us now, Byron?
Well, first of all, if David Perdue does lose, and it looks like that's probably going to happen, it was a disastrous night for the Republican Party. There's just no doubt about it. The Republican Party came into the Georgia runoffs with an advantage. It only had to win one of the 2 runoffs to retain control of the Senate. And now it looks like they might have lost both of them. On the other hand, this is something that has happened before. Barack Obama left office with the opposition party in control of the White House, the House, and the Senate. George W. Bush left office with the opposition party in control of the White House, the House, and the Senate. Now, they did it after 2 terms. Donald Trump has done it after 1, but it's a very similar result. It happens to parties, and they start rebuilding afterwards.
How much have you thought about President Trump's future, what he says today, and perhaps more importantly, what happens tomorrow and in the months and years after that?
Well, I think there's no doubt that President Trump played a role in these Republican defeats in Georgia. Other things did too. Kelly Loeffler, for example, was not a great candidate chosen by the governor there, Brian Kemp. President Trump preferred Doug Collins, might have been a better candidate. But there's no doubt that President Trump played a role by remaining on center stage after the election, challenging the results, giving a sort of mixed message to Georgia voters. The vote is totally corrupt, so go vote again. On the other hand, where does Trump go now? He's clearly today completely consumed with this idea of the challenge to the Electoral College results in the House and the Senate. He's not going to win there. Now, I think what Eric Trump said that we've just played earlier is really, really interesting about the continued influence of former President Trump. And there's no doubt that right now, the president's power and influence is leaking away by the minute. It happens to lame duck presidents. That's what happens. Congress won't do what he says because they know he's going to be gone in a few weeks. So will Trump be able to maintain that influence as a former president when new leaders are beginning to emerge? That's going to be the real question.
That's it, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Dr. Nitin Chhoda with Ignition Time. If you don't know anything about me, please check out my video right here. You'll learn more about who I am, what my journey has been like, and why you should listen to me. On this channel, the Ignition Time channel, it's not important whether you're red or blue. For me, it's not about the red or the blue. It's about the red, white, and blue. I'm not Democrat. I'm not Republican. I'm American. We are all Americans first. You'll get different types of information on this channel. You're not going to get the regular kinds of information. You're going to get information that's important to the country because we do need to understand how the country works. That in turn impacts the economy, and by extension, this impacts our money. On this channel, you'll hear about the country, the economy, and about our money. We release videos at 2 p.m. East Coast time most days of the week. That's 2 p.m. East Coast time most days of the week. Please get your cell phone out, send a text message with the word ignition or with the word time, and send that to 70,000. That's 70000. You'll get added to our SMS alerts list moving forward. You can also get added to our email list. Simply go to ignitiontime.com/alerts. That's ignitiontime.com/alerts, and you'll get added to our email list going forward. You can opt out of the SMS list or the email list at any point in time that you want. Stay in touch with us via the SMS list or the email list. You'll get important news and alerts if you're on our SMS list and on our email list. So definitely make sure you stay in touch via SMS or via email. You'll also get information about any programs that we might release in the future. Now, keep in mind that YouTube does not always send out notifications on time. Sometimes YouTube sends out the notifications late. So all I ask you to do is simply go to youtube.com/ignition time. That's youtube.com/ignition time. And then you'll be able to bookmark the homepage of our channel and then visit the homepage of our channel and watch the videos anytime you want. This way you're not dependent on notifications and you're not going to miss a single video, which is important. You can also follow us on Instagram. Our Instagram handle is ignition_time. That's ignition_time. So please follow us on Instagram. You'll get important information specifically for our Instagram community. Speaking of community, follow us on Twitter. Our Twitter handle is also ignition_time. That's ignition_time. It's the same handle as Instagram. You'll get breaking news and alerts from us on Twitter. One of the incredible things about the growth of our channel has been the growth of our community. I encourage you to comment below. You'll make some new friends. We are a bipartisan, we are an intelligent, we are a respectful, we are a growing community. So engage with our community. You might make some new friends. Also, please share this video with just 2 friends or family members. Just share this video with 2 friends or family members. That would mean a lot to me personally. As always, you'll get a link to all of our resources in the description section below. So make sure you check out our description section. And finally, please ignite the subscribe button. Please ignite the like button. I would really appreciate that because the name of our channel is Ignition Time. Don't forget to enable notifications so that YouTube does send you reminders when we release content. I'll do anything for a like. If you want, I'll do one of my dances. Now, I guess I'm an average dancer, but seriously, I would really appreciate it if you click the like button. Once again, please subscribe. Please enable notifications. That would mean a lot to me. If you click like, I get into party mode. And it's almost like there's confetti for me everywhere when you click the like button. I would really appreciate that. Guys, let me be completely honest. Just because some of us have started to get the $600 stimulus checks, it does not mean that it's raining money. What it means is, it's a lesson essentially for us that we should never, ever, ever be dependent on the government again. And that is where I will lead you. Thank you so much for watching. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next episode of Ignition Time. Thanks. Bye.